Hey there, it's Glenn, and in my last video I showed you how to notch out your cigar box so that you can fit your neck through for a neck through cigar box guitar. But in this video I'm going to show you how to notch out the neck so that you can fit it into the box. We're going to notch out the top to make a headstock so you can put some tuners on, and we're going to glue in and screw in some pieces of wood on either end to secure the neck inside the box. Alright, let's do this! Well, alright, what I'm going to show you here are the tools that I'll be using for this project. Some of them that are not absolutely necessary, but I'm trying to stick with the things that are the most basic so that those who do not have a whole lot of tools or access to them could generally find these relatively easily. I have a drill driver here. I do have some wood glue, a coping saw, a square, a measuring device, a tape measure, a miter box and saw, pencil, various, in this case, coarse threaded drywall screws, but some sort of fasteners, various files and sandpapers of various grits would be a good idea in order to sand off what will be in file down the rougher sections of the neck as we cut through it. And I like to have some clamps on hand. While these aren't absolutely necessary, they go a long way to being helpful. All right, let's keep this thing moving. Now, the wood that I'm using for the neck is a piece of poplar that I picked up at a corporate home improvement store. I live here in the States. I don't know what you have where you are, clearly. This is a 1x2 and it's 4 feet long. The 1 inch is the 1x2 are nominal dimensions. The actual dimensions are 3/4 of an inch by 1.5 inches. It is pretty close to 4 feet long. So what I'm going to do is take off about 12 inches. I'm going to take off 12 inches, keep and hold aside that 12-inch length, and I'm going to use the 36-inch length piece for the neck. Alright, I'm going to measure in that 12 inches, cut off that piece and set it aside so I can cut it into smaller pieces to be fit inside of the box later. And I'm going to use my handy dandy super duper cheap Charlie miter box to get this done. I'm backed up against a freezer right now, so forgive me if this looks even goofier than it normally would. Alakazam! I now have my 12-inch piece and my 36-inch piece. I'm going to set aside my 12-inch piece for a later time. I'm going to measure down from whatever end of this 36-inch piece that I want to serve as the headstock. In this case, the end that's on my left, I'm going to measure down 5 inches. And at that 5-inch mark, I'm going to measure down 1/4 inch. And then over here at the very end, I'm going to measure down 1/4 inch. And I am going to connect those two lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that coping saw to notch out this section right here. And now that section that's marked off to be notched out, I just want to transfer to the other side as well so I can keep track of what it is I'm cutting. So I'm just going to take that 5-inch mark and just kind of transfer it over with the square. And this is the section again that I'll be notching out for the headstock. Now here again is that 5-inch mark that I have that I want to show to cut out this notch for the headstock. So I want to take about another 1/4 inch down from that and just kind of lightly mark on a line where I'm going to put the nut. So from this line that I marked out for the nut, I want to measure down about another 25 inches, not about, but definitely 25 inches, because I want this guitar to be built on a 25-inch scale. And I'm going to measure down 25 inches and just kind of faintly mark that there. And I want to use that notch inside the box to see where it is that I want the bridge to fall. And in this case, I personally like to have the bridge just enough, just in enough from the tailpiece so I can kind of rest my hand on it, but far back enough so that if I wanted to put a pickup here or a sound hole here, and this is at, a relatively short box. It's deep so that it'll resonate well, but this is a short box, so I don't have a whole lot of room for play there. But that 25-inch mark is just about where I want it. It's about 2/3 of the way into the box. Not about there. Mark out where in the box these inside walls are on the neck, because I'm actually going to notch out all through here. So what I want to do on this neck is I want to measure down the thickness of the lid plus about another 1/16 of an inch. And I'm actually going to notch out that entire section. And do the same on this side. Measure down 3/16 of an inch. And we're going to notch out that entire section right there. Now just to be clear, what I want to do is notch out the neck underneath the box lid so that the box lid has room to vibrate to produce a good sound. So in this case, it's the depth of the box lid plus 1/16 of an inch. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down on this line and this line that I've drawn to notch out for the box lid, and on this line which is going to notch out for the headstock. So using my biter box, again I'm going to notch out or cut down on those marks first, and then after that I'll use the coping saw to finish out the notching. And lastly, we'll finish out by cutting down for the headstock. Well, alright, now you can see where the notch out will be for the headstock. I've cut down to that line, that 1/4 inch notch out. And same thing for underneath the lid of the cigar box guitar. I've cut down on both sides of where the notch out's going to be. And then I'm going to take out both this piece and this piece here for the headstock with the coping saw. I have the neck secured to the table with clamps. Now again, while the clamps aren't entirely necessary, they're just going to make my life a lot easier. But using the coping saw, I'm going to notch out this part of the neck for the notch out this part of the neck for the headstock, and I'll do the same for underneath the box lid as well. And for the notch out of underneath the box lid, I'm about to finish out notching out the area that goes underneath the box lid, and this is a time-consuming process. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's worth it. Now that the notch outs have been cut here for the headstock and here for underneath the box lid, what I want to do is use files and then sandpaper to take down all these rough edges, especially on the headstock, as it will be exposed, and enough underneath the box lid just to make certain that there's room between, again, the neck and the box lid so that the box lid can vibrate. This table's a mess. I'm not going to lie to you. So, just want to check to see if my box lid closes, which it does. Plenty of room to vibrate. Now using this 12-inch piece that I cut off the 4-foot length earlier in order to make that neck, using this 12-inch piece, I'm going to cut 2 pieces out to fit the inside of this box for the bracing. And so in order to get those measurements, I'm going to measure from the bottom of the box to the bottom of the notch on either side and cut those pieces to length. So here I have 2 3/16 inch and 2 3/16 inch, perfect, 2 pieces the same size to be cut out of, again, that 12-inch piece that I used, or that I cut from that 4-foot total length to make the neck. Here I've checked to see if the pieces that I've cut match the bottom edge of the sections that I notched out for the neck, and to see that if we have a good fit. In this case, we're looking pretty good, a little loose on one end, but that's okay, we're going to be glued and screwed. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these into the box. I'll let them dry, and I'll just I'll further fasten them with a couple of screws as well. Now here you can see I have on the back end the brace glued into place with 2 screws to help secure that brace inside the box. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of the box, which is where the neck will be coming out, where the headstock will be on the other end, where it's been glued into place, but I just want to insert a couple of screws as well to further brace the brace inside the box. But I want to keep, in this case, these 2 screws a little bit lower, say down about here, so that I have enough room on this build to fit in a neck brace that I'm going to get from CB Giddy Crafter Supply, just to kind of help keep the neck from bowing too much under the tension of the strings. Okay, so we have our braces glued and screwed into place, and what I'd like to do is do a final test run on the neck to see if it's going to be inside the box fitting well. Alright, lid closes, lid vibrates, it securely against the braces, and then all that's left that I'm going to do is I'm going to screw a couple holes on either end here and screw the neck into the braces. Now to secure the neck to the bracing, what I've done here is I've inserted a 1 1/4 inch screw to the neck into the bracing, and I'll do the same here on the front, but and this is great, you can put it right here in the center if you wish, but since I think later on in this project what I'd like to do is, like I mentioned earlier, to try and use a neck brace to further secure the neck to the box and the bracing. What I'll do is I'm just going to put this screw for the bracing, the neck to the inner brace. I'm just going to put it a little bit off center, and then I'll drill down and insert again a 1 1/4 inch screw into the brace. And this is exactly what we want. Hey, I'm getting pretty excited. We're a little further along in the project. We have the headstock notched out, ready for some tuners. The neck is firmly inside the box lid closes and yet vibrates to produce some great sound. And I think in the next video what we're going to do is we're going to install some tuners, in this case 3, in order to make a 3-string guitar, drill some holes in the tailpiece in order to get the strings up through, and even install the neck brace just to give the neck some further stability when it's strung up. And until the next time, please take care. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll talk to you later. See ya! Alright, I'm getting pretty excited. We're a little further along in the project. We have the headstock notched out. Yeah.